Alright, hello everyone. This is hopefully going to be a quick video. Hopefully it doesn't go over 10 minutes because I don't want to take up too much of your time, because this is mainly going to be just a quick little message, yeah? To all the carrier players out there, or even, the ones who are just learning how to play the class. So, when you're playing carriers, obviously the squadron that you are controlling will spot the enemy team, right? Make sure you guys use your fighters to spot the enemy team as well. Sure, fighters are useful for sometimes protecting your allies or even protecting yourself from an incoming carrier strike. But usually, most of the time, I would say about 60 or 70% of the time, you'll be using it to spot the enemy team that the squadron that you're currently controlling is not going to be spotting. So, this is just a VOD from one of my earlier streams, okay? Now I was playing Atago, a tier 8, and we're playing with a tier 6 carrier, which is the Ranger. I noticed that this game, the enemy team on the C flank, where I was mainly set up in, was constantly going dark, like the destroyers or the battleship. You'll see later in this match that the battleship ends up being very, very low HP, but I noticed that there were no fighters being placed on the map at all. I'll enlarge this in the editing, the minimap, so we can take a better look at it. There's the fighters there, and she could have placed them a little further ahead past the cap to spot everyone here. So right now you see the squadron that she's controlling is currently spotting the enemy team. If she placed the fighters a little more out even further, a little past the cap, she would have spotted everyone here. Notice how the Kansas was also spotted. But now that she's going over to A cap, the Kansas would still be spotted by the fighters. And because the fighters are going in a circular motion, sometimes they will extend out to where the spotting from the carrier's controlled squadron won't be actually in range. So they can actually see what they can see sometimes past that range. Then we see that the submarine is currently spotting, or our destroyer is spotting the Kansas now. But imagine if sometimes you put the squadron a little further out, you'll spot the mines, spot the Queen Elizabeth, and potentially even other ships out there. But now she's sending planes over to ACAV, so everything here is spotted, alright? So that's good. Now we see the DD here. We're going to skip forward just a little bit. We're just going to be taking a look at what our CV is doing. She's just focusing A side for now. But later on in the match, this Kansas ends up being very, very, very low, okay? See how low she's gotten, right? But our CV only drops fighters on allies from what I've seen. Even though she's on our side, she doesn't drop fighters like in between this area right here, or potentially out wide to constantly scout the Akazuki, or the very low Kansas that's sub 1000 HP or something. And now he's healing 900 health. And the carrier does not see this, apparently. He's only tunneling on the mines who's pushing through mid, which is a threat, but I mean, you probably thought we could deal with the Kansas, right? Kansas is already healing up. Speed up ahead. Still, no fighters. Attacks the DD, no fighters. Maybe he doesn't have fighters in his squadron for rockets, okay. So he sends TBs out, TBs go out, but he fighters me. Now, I'm not trying to flame anybody, or I'm not trying to call out anybody, alright? Even though you can see their username, right, in-game. This isn't a video to call someone out. This is just normal carrier play that I've been noticing when I was playing tier 8s. Tier 8 carriers, tier 6 carriers, sometimes even tier 10 carriers, they all do this. They don't place their fighters in a proper position to constantly spot the enemy team. Kansas is very low on health, healing up slowly and running away, right? But this fighters doesn't really do anything other than potentially prevent a CV strike. But even still, it was right on top of me, and even though I wasn't even being attacked by enemy planes, you know, he goes ahead, strikes the Queen Elizabeth, which is fine. Places another fighter here. This is a good fighter placement. This is what should have been done before to keep the Kansas lit or anyone else that needed to be dealt with. So this is the end of this round basically, but in the very beginning of this game, you notice how this fighter placement here is usually not what you want to do in the center of the cap, or sorry, in the mid cap, right on the point. You want to extend that out just a little bit so you can keep these guys spotted as well. Or even one thing I like to do is placing it in between two caps in this kind of domination mode. Keep it in between two caps so you spot both C and B, or A and B, depending on which way you want to place it. And then you fly over to the other cap and spot there, and then do your strike. Right? So that's what I generally like to do. I'll try to find another game so we can just go more, showcase that as well. Alright, so we found another game. This is I believe this is the next match right after the one that I just showcased of me in the Otago. We're playing the Alabama. And I decided to just go and take that quote-unquote central positioning. Ooh, I know, right? Very powerful. We have a Hornet on our team. And right from the start, I didn't really feel good because Hornet in general is not a strong carrier at all, especially when you're facing something like a Chillhop, which is one of the top dogs of the tier. Hornet not only has less fighters in general because lack of one squadron compared to the others, but also her offensive capabilities is quite questionable. If we take a look at the minimap here, we see the Hornet is using torpedo bombers, which is okay as a starting squadron. The issue is here is she spots three ships, but she never places a fighter down, and this is going to be an ongoing issue throughout this match for the entirety, you know, just to the very end. And we end up losing this match, but would things have ended up differently if the carrier placed more fighters? I would say so, but I'm not gonna put the blame on the carrier because everyone made mistakes this game. Gets a strike off on the sign up, never placed fighters down. Imagine if he placed it maybe in the center. His flight path was from here straight through B, fly around, drop the sign up, and recall. Okay. So there's no fighters there. Everyone went dark again. I'm in position. I'm shooting over at A cap, try to get whatever I can. Carrier sends squadrons over to A cap and tries to, I guess, torpedo bomb whatever is over here. Still no fighters. Now we see their entire team is on A and B, and this is what worries me because I've 2 runs so far. He has not dropped fighters, and that's like the thing I always look at on my carrier whenever I'm playing randoms and I'm not playing the carrier. No fighters at all. But the Chillhop plays his fighters. Notice how strong this positioner is. He's barely in the anti-air range of the Leander, the Benson, right? And the Strasbourg is not even close to kill these planes down. This is spotting everyone here. Meanwhile, our Hornet is reversing, which is okay, I guess, but sends TBs over, hovers around me for a little bit, and then just recalls the planes. Wait, what happened here? Oh, wait, what? Okay, well, he dropped his ordnance for some reason, I don't know why, and recalled his plane, so no spotting whatsoever. And notice how there's 2 DDs, a Helena, a Cachalot, and an Algeria, and 2 ships over here that are currently rotating around. I'm in central position. I'm ready to like shoot things, but nothing is ever spotted, and I had to use my spotter plane to potentially catch this Steinop out. So the Hornet is, oh, I think these are his tactical squadrons. These should be tacticals. Yeah, they're flying pretty slowly. Finally, he sends it over here. He spots the Edinburgh. So we are currently just trying to get some shots up, but by this point, everyone is already in position. They all rotated around, but still, there's no fighters. His torpedo squadron, still no fighters at all. You see here, people are being spotted because of these. My div mate is spotting the Edinburgh as well. Because the Hornet squadron is flying over, he's spotting over these ships here, so I'm able to shoot at them. But then the moment that he recalls the planes, they're just gonna be able to go dark again. And this frustrated me so much yesterday that I felt like I needed to actually talk about it. The power of carrier spotting is so immense, and a lot of people just don't realize it. Like he spots the destroyer here, torpedo drops it, and then just recalls his planes. He doesn't drop a fighter or anything. So I'm sitting here just in the dark, like I don't know what's going on. Everyone is dark now. Like I have no idea what to do here. So we end up losing this game as well. But this is just another example of why you really want to use your fighters in these kind of moments. Just placing it in the general vicinity of the enemy ships, right? It doesn't have to be right on top of them. Just placing them out 6 kilometers range, just to spot them, right? Because even if the fighters do touch some of the ship's anti-air, if they're shooting their anti-air guns, they're gonna spot them. And if it's a cruiser or potentially a DD that needs to be dealt with, or that can get some kind of chip damage off of, it's very worth it. And it's just something that you want to just keep in mind about when you're playing a class or a ship that has planes, right? You want to spot something, you can place fighters down. This Algeria just gets annihilated, but still, like, there's no fighters being placed at all. Not one this entire game, actually. I'm just speeding it ahead. There's 0 fighters being placed. Okay, well, all right, let's see if I can find one more game, because 2 games I don't think is enough to showcase what I'm trying to say here. Alright, so for my last game, the game right afterwards, I decided to finally play carrier because I kind of had enough of it. For a top tier dog, I'm playing Enterprise, who has very powerful fighters, and I'm pretty sure many people know this already. Her fighters are the best of her tier. For some reason, I don't know why, but I guess, I don't know, historical bias. So notice in the very beginning, I placed my fighters here because it felt like the Lexington was going to go straight towards me. I placed mine down, she places her down. These 2 tag each other, and then they get reset. Or actually, she gets tagged by my squadron. Okay. Very strange. But anyways, I do my general spotting run, go around, trying to spot everyone, spotted people in center, spot people on the flanks, and I have my fighter squadron ready as well. I spot the DD. That's what I really wanted to spot on this side, because a lot of people like to go down the 9-10 excuse me, the 9-10 line on this map. We forced a smoke on the Kagero. That's how we know she is also a smoke Kagero, not a torpedo reload build. I decided to ditch, and because I'm going to be striking the Surrey and the sign up, but I dropped my fighter here, which not only spots the Surrey and the sign up, but also spots the destroyer in the smoke whenever the destroyer decides to leave that smoke screen. So it gives my team on this side some kind of like knowledge, right? So more intel is always better when you're playing this type of game. So I send out my dive bombers. I try to focus out on, try to pick whoever I can here. But I drop my fighters here because this fighter placement will spot the Cleveland. It will spot the 2 Dunkirks, and I think there's a 3rd ship here behind the Dunkirks. I'm not too sure, but this fighter placement spots pretty much everyone. And then if the Bismarck wants to turn around and run away, right? If he wants to turn around, sail away towards the Dunkirk, he gets spotted by my fighters too. These fighters are out of the AA range of the Cleveland because she's sailing away. And this fighter stays up for 47 more seconds, 45 seconds, right? Which is very, very powerful. What this means is they can't turn broadside, really. It gives our team knowledge of what their ships that are spotted are doing. And it's just a better world, right? It feels great to constantly permaspot. Look, these guys can't even turn. They can't even game a turn because they don't know what's gonna be showing up over here. My div mate is just run full W with his turpets, and they don't even know he's there. He's in their mouths. But notice how I get my strike off on that Cleveland, right? I place my fighters here, and then by the time I have my next squadron flying, which are my torpedo bombers, to my previous place fighter's location, they despawn, which means I can place another fighter down here, which I do, and then I continue perma-lighting the Dunkirk, Bismarck, and then the Cleveland if she ever decides to turn around. And these guys just get smashed through my from my turpets, and now it's like they can't do anything about it. I spot the Lexington. That gives us knowledge of where the carrier squadrons will be coming from, and we can try to push her when needed. But this fighters will stay up here for the entirety of the duration, and they can't do anything about it. Fighters run out. I'd finish my run, and now I don't know what this is here. There's a conga line of my battleships all mid for some reason. Notice how I am going back over to the same spot because Roma needs to be dealt with. I don't place a fighter here because there's no need to, because Fuso is spotting the Roma, right? They're both going to be perma lighting each other. There's no reason for me to place fighters at all. We deal with the Roma. I go after the Cleveland. I think I get a good chunk of HP here. 3? 2 Citadels, 3 hits. Pretty good. Nice. So I'm just going to ignore the Cleveland, focus on the Surrey, but this is just the power of spotting with your fighters. Sometimes, you know, right now I only have 33k spotting damage, but usually, oh nice, that was a really good attack run. Usually, you know, sometimes on stream or in my matches, 5 minutes I get 150k, and then I get that combat scout achievement or something for spotting damage. And it's a very powerful tool. Placing your fighters down and just spotting the entire enemy team for free. You're doing the destroyer's job for them. They don't have to risk their ship to spot anything, because you can do it for them. They can take a more easier route in doing their own thing, dealing damage, dropping torps, smoking up, you know, opening up on the enemy ships. They could do their own thing. And now the game is just won. I don't have to do anything, you know. I think they smoke up here and I drop fighters. Yeah, the lightning smokes up. No, not the lightning. The Sims shows up here. He smokes up eventually. I drop my fighters to keep him spotted, just in case he smokes up. So when he leaves, he can, you know, get spotted again. But yeah, this is basically what I just wanted to talk about. Nothing really too special in this kind of video. It's just explaining and reminding everyone that fighters are a very useful tool in the world of warships, and carrier spotting is one of the strongest things you can ever have. Just spotting in general, not even carriers, but carriers have that free spotting tool, and a lot of people don't use it. I just feel like people who don't use it as much are the people who don't really understand how powerful something like this is. And I'm also still waiting for whenever they adjust carrier spotting, because it breaks matches. It really does. It's very frustrating. Like, I would say that I'm a carrier player at heart, but I do play cruisers from time to time. And when I'm not playing as carrier and I have a carrier in the game, I have a carrier in the game, it's very frustrating. Definitely very frustrating. So it's something that I hope gets worked on later on, but this is generally what I wanted to talk about in this video. And if it did go over 20 minutes, I was hoping it would go over only 10 minutes, but this is just there's 3 games that I could showcase as an example of why carrier spotting is very powerful, and everyone who plays carriers should be using it. It's just as simple as placing down your fighters and just going on your own flight path. You know, just placing down fighters in one location, flying to the other side, and then there we go. You're already contributing to your team. So, yep. If you guys enjoyed it, if this video helped you, let me know. Try to go over some more topics like these, but this is basically just a quick in-between video while I'm working on my current project, which is about the Sekiryu. That will be taking a little while longer, but yep. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.